Last time on the FXNT Create 3 Modpack, I went on a pointless adventure for wild rice. And no silk touch, so I guess we're just getting books. I built a train station, and I built an automatic farm for every type of crop. And here it is. It's been running for a little while, filling with all of the good things that I need. And that means that today I can build that mobile gold farm that I was talking about in the last video. If you haven't been following along with this series, my aim for this series is to wander the world building farms and things all around, with my main base being on a train. So far, all I've managed to build is a single carriage, which is an iron farm. And, oh geez. And for that today, I intended to change. We're gonna need more things. But before we get to any of that, my armor and my tools are in a bit of a sorry state. And to fix that, I'm gonna need a wood farm. A wood farm? Yep, it all starts with a wood farm, mate. A really, really simple, easy one. Not a lumber mill, because we're gonna be building one of those somewhere else, but a very basic, very simple little wood farm, just to get a little bit of wood. So a wood farm then. I'm just going to build it down here next to the house so it can keep running while I'm in the area. But that is going to mean doing a little bit of digging just to tidy it up a smidge. There we go, that's a bit better. We've got a platform to play with now. And that means I can dig a hole in the floor and stick down a windmill bearing. On top of that, I'm going to have some andesite casing. And then all I'm going to do on top of that is just add in a bunch of windmill bearings. And this doesn't need to be pretty because it's only temporary. Coming out from the side of this, we're going to have some more andesite casing. We're going to put some saws on the front of that, remove these, stick a barrel there and a portable storage interface there facing outwards. And then just up a couple of blocks, we're going to throw on our deployers facing down. Spin them around so I've got access to the filter, put saplings in the filter, and there we go. We've now got a very basic tree farm. So if I glue all of this together, just like that, come out under here and click on this windmill bearing. Oh, let's turn it the right way around. Then that's going to spin around, placing the sapling. Why did it not play? Oh, it hasn't got any saplings to place. If I put some saplings in it, that's going to start placing saplings on the floor, spin round as they grow. It's going to chop them down and they're going to go into that barrel. Then what I need to do is figure out where this storage interface is going to come out, which I want to deal with on this side. And I think it's going to be around about there that it will connect. Stick a barrel down a couple of blocks away, put some item drains in between. Then we have a brass funnel coming out of there and an andesite funnel going into there. And now all of the items will come out of the tree farm and go into there. For now, while I'm not bothered about how pretty this is going to be, I'm just going to dot some torches around it so that it's always lit, so that it can always grow the trees. And now as it gets to this tree here, it's going to saw that tree down quite slowly, but quickly enough. That tree is then going to go inside of this barrel here. And as it gets round to here and meets up with this, and all of the logs come off and go in the barrel. But why do I need this wood? Well, mainly because I haven't got very much of it, and I'm going to need it if I want to get lots of diamonds. And that's because I need to make this incredible tunnel bore much bigger. So I'm going to need a bunch more mechanical drills. But of course, with more drills becomes more storage requirement. And now I've got a bunch of drills. I've moved the tunnel bore over here where there's plenty of space to be placing things down. And all I'm going to do is just build this drill wall into an even bigger drill wall. And so with these last few drills, that makes our tunnel bore much bigger. But of course, all of these drills are going to need gluing on. And of course, it means we need a bunch more chests. So I'm actually going to move this for a second, add on a whole bunch of chests, and then adding the brass funnel back on. This thing is ready to go mining, which of course means going down my mine again to the very lowest depths of the world where we're going to find diamonds. And now just at the back of the room, which I've been doing all of this mining in, I'm going to throw it down and give it a push, and that's going to mine much more quickly, generating us a whole bunch more diamonds. So just 45 minutes later, and this thing has got all sorts. We got a bunch of redstone, a bunch of lapis, and we also got a bunch of zinc and a whole bunch of diamonds, as well as a ridiculous amount of tuff and over 21,000 cobbled deep slate. But how's my wood farm been doing? Excellent. Right, well, we definitely don't need all of those saplings, so let's get rid of those. You can compost them. Actually, yes, we could compost them. Yes, we could do that. Well, let's grab all of the stuff out of here and let this continue going because I've got some more tunnel boring to do, but not here. And in order to compost those samplings, I've just popped them into this barrel here, which feeds them into the draw controller, which will then put them into there, which then goes into the composting system, which generates us bone meal. Wonderful. Right, anyway, that's enough of that. I need to empty out this tunnel bore so I can take it to the Nether. For all of these raw ores I've got, I could just throw them straight into my smelter and turn them directly into ingots. However, if I process them first, I can get more for my money. For that, I'm going to need a couple of crushing wheels, which means I'm probably going to need a lot more power in here or to turn a bunch of things off. We could probably start by spinning that round to turn that off. I've already turned my fan off, and if I disconnect this from here, that's going to turn that off. Now, if I just run this shaft along the top over here, stick a gearbox on there, a shaft there, and another gearbox there. They should be going in different directions. They are, but they're going the wrong way around. So let's go this way instead. Throw my crushing wheels on there. It hasn't overstressed everything. That's brilliant. I need a chute underneath going into a chest. And yes, this is temporary for now. And rather than just throwing everything directly into the crushing wheels, I'm just going to stick a chest at the top as well. And now if I throw all of my raw things into there, they're going to get crushed down into the crushed stuff, as well as nuggets of experience. And what I can do with this crushed stuff is grab that, swap out this lava for some water, get my fan going again if I've got enough power. I have. And then if I wash that instead of smelting it, I'll get a little bit of extra stuff as well. I think with iron, I get a little bit of redstone potentially. Yes, I do. So I get iron nuggets. Wow, a bunch of iron nuggets and redstone as well. And wow, that's a lot of stuff that I got just for crushing and washing. Look at all that gunpowder. Now, before I go running off to the Nether to get that netherite, I think it would be a good idea to spend a bunch of these diamonds on gearing up a little bit. Well, lovely. Look at me. I'm all shiny. I'd also like to enchant them. And seems like I've got 31 levels, as well as a whole bunch of nuggets of experience and blocks of experience now would probably be a good time to do it. And in the last video, I did get a ridiculous number of books, which I can combine with even more wood to get a whole bunch of bookshelves. But I can't make an enchantment table because I've got no obsidian, which means I need to take my tunnel bore for one more little mission back down the mines. Before I take it for another mission, not down to get into the Nether. And as you can see down here, there are quite a few pools of lava. So all I need to do is have a small accident with this bucket of water to spill it all over that lava, dig down a block for my rail, pop down my tunnel bore and give it a nudge. And it will take a while to go through the obsidian, but it'll be a lot quicker than me doing it by hand. And so again, just a few minutes later, I now have over a stack of obsidian, which means I can build an enchantment table and set up a little enchanting setup down here in the basement. Then throwing in an anvil and a grindstone and a couple of barrels, that means I can actually get enchanting. And we could just start trying to do books and see what we get, but I think it was worth throwing a pickaxe on there and see, oh look, efficiency 4 straight away. Yep, I'll take that. Oh, it's just efficiency 4. Fine. I really want silk touch on a shovel. I'm breaking 3. Well, that's not too bad. But of course, the main thing I want to do is get my armor sorted. So all in all, I managed to get Unbreaking 3, Fire Protection 3, Fire Protection 3, and Protection 4, but no Silk Touch. I will stick that sweeping edge on my sword, though. I might as well. And now it's time to test how good this fire protection is by going to the Nether. Let's do this. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, how hard could it be? What could possibly go wrong? Now the trickiest part is of course going to be getting down low enough in the Nether to actually dig. The other tricky part is going to be that there is a ghast trying to kill me. Come on, get return to sender. Yay, I got it. Nice. And I've got to get down underneath there somehow. Let's put some cobblestone in my offhand just in case. Throw on the mini-map. Oh, many lavas. So many lavas. And I've got a feeling I'm going to come out in that lava lake in a second. Yes, I am. So we're going to have to staircase back down in the other direction. Hopefully avoid the lava. I want to be around about Y15 because I believe that's the best place to get it. So if I go down to around about 12, my tunnel bore should reach up high enough to get all of the good stuff. And let's just dig out a big hole so I can actually put it down. And let's get going. Oh, geez. Oh. I can't believe I didn't die. So once again, I'm back here and we managed to get a whole bunch of gravel, a whole bunch of blackstone, an absolute ton of netherrack. But more importantly, we got a bunch of quartz, a bunch of gold, and 31 ancient debris. And now I just need to smelt this up, which I can do with my fan. So I need to take the water out, put the lava back in, stick that in there and wait for all of that to turn into the netherite scrap. Okay, that should have all smelted now. It has, so let's grab that. Let's turn as much of this into netherite as we can. How many pieces will we get? 7? That's not too bad, but I can't turn my backpack into a netherite one because of course I need the smithing template. That means I need to go to a bastion, which I don't want to go to a bastion, but I'm going to have to. So let's go again. Now, previously when we came to the nether, I did spot a rather large bastion over here. I've just got to get to it. So I think the main thing to do here would be to just set a waypoint and then go down into the area that I've just mined out in order to get there a little bit more swiftly by avoiding all of those lava lakes. Oh, I can already see there are brutes nearby on the mini-map. Oh, look, stone brick. Very handy. I can hear lots of lava, though. And there's some lava. I found some. Oh, geez, look at all the piglins on the mini-map. Uh-oh, lava, lava. Oh, am I in that big room? Oh, there's a brute just there, look. If I'm where I think I am, and surely I'm not far away from that bit in the middle with all the chests. I'm not. Okay, well, let's just go a little bit further under here then. Try and avoid the blocks with lava directly above them. Let's see if I could dig directly up into the chests. That would be... No, lava. Lava. No. Lava. More lava. More lava. More lava. Uh-oh. Oh, I've got an advancement. Oh, a chest. And another smithing template. Amazing. I got one. I didn't even need to go in there. You stupid. Hey, stupid piglin man. Look, you're in there and I'm down here. Stupid piglin man. Can I get the gold block? Or am I pushing my luck at that point? No, piglin man. Oh, look at all the gold. Oh, another chest. More? No, netherite templates. Hello, sir. Oh, look at you. You can't. Oh, you've got a friend and neither of you can get me. What a shame. All it took was a little bit of mini-map logic and some tunneling and being very careful around the lava. Oh, you died. Oh, what a shame. Anyone else want to come play? So now that I'm safely home, it'll be a good idea to craft up some more smithing templates. Which, of course, means burning through a whole bunch of diamonds, but I've got the diamonds. Now I can turn my backpack into a netherite one, which means I've got a whole extra row of things to put in it, as well as more upgrade slots. And I would make my armor netherite, but realistically, this is not very good armor, so I might as well save my netherite until I've got some good stuff. And similarly with my tools, it's not really worth upgrading any of these. Now, I'd like to say I could use that netherite again to upgrade my backpack in terms of stack upgrades, but I'd need a lot more than what I've got. So I'm going to attempt to make at least one diamond upgrade. The only problem with making those upgrades is that they require an awful lot of string, and I don't have much string and I don't have much wool. But what I do have is an awful lot of flax now, and flax, believe it or not, can be crafted into string. Very convenient. So I'm going to make a handful of these, make myself 3 new iron upgrade templates, which means I can just about afford 2 gold upgrade templates. And if I turn as many of my diamonds as I can into blocks, I should be able to make 2 of those as well. So there we go. And now my stacks will be able to hold up to 8,000 items. Another upgrade I really want is an automatic feeding upgrade, because I never have to eat again. And I think I've got most of the... Oh, I don't know if I've got any ender pearls. Yeah, I don't have any ender pearls at all. But I have seen some endermen, and they were all chilling out in the nether. Don't tell me they've all despawned. There was definitely an enderman kicking about down here. I'm not wearing gold. Uh-oh. Run away, run away, run away. Oh, I know where I can get ender pearls, though, sir. Let me go put my gold helmet on, then me and you can be friends. Yeah. Have some gold and give me some ender pearls, please, sir. I'm crafting up nuggets now, sir. This is how desperate I am. What did you get? The dried ghast. Well, I'm down to my last gold ingot. This is my last chance to get an ender pearl. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I think I'm going to have to do it the good old fashioned. No, quartz. Wow, I got so much junk. 2 dried ghasts. Not a single ender pearl. Right, okay. Coming back to the overworld, it is nighttime, so it's not impossible I'll find an enderman out in the wild, but it's highly unlikely. And there's no way... Oh, there's what! I find an enderman! Come here, sir. I'm looking at you. This is going to be painful, but it's going to be worth it. Ow. Oh, no, a baby zombie. Oh, this just got worse. Ow. No. 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 Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, this is... Oh, what am I doing with my life? Give me your ender pearls. How many times do I have to hit you? Oh, I got him. Did he drop a pearl, though? Hey, you leave me alone. Did he drop an ender pearl? I don't think he did. He didn't even drop one. The only other option I've got is to go to a village and find a cleric, but I've got so much to do today. I don't want to be going off to a village and doing that. I also don't have very many emeralds. Well, I was going to suggest, because I can't get any ender pearls, I'll have a look at some other upgrades. But all of the upgrades I want need ender pearls. I want a magnet upgrade. I want a refill upgrade. I'd quite like a pickup upgrade, which doesn't need an ender pearl. And of course, I would like a crafting upgrade. And a stonecutter upgrade also doesn't require an ender pearl. But believe it or not, a crafting upgrade does, because oh no, I can use any chest. Well, I guess I can make a couple of upgrades. Starting with the crafting upgrade, which means if I put that in here, I can now craft anything straight from my backpack, which is very handy. That means I can just craft a stone cutter straight away and throw that in there. And if I make myself a sticky piston, just like that, I can now make myself a pickup upgrade. And the pickup upgrade is quite useful, because it means if there's anything on the floor that I go near and pick it up, instead of going into my inventory and wasting all my inventory space, it'll go into my backpack somewhere, wherever there's a free slot. So, having had no luck so far to get ender pearls, I think the easiest way for me to get them is with a jetpack. And we're going to start off with a brass jetpack, which requires mechanical crafting, and for that I'm going to need a bunch of ingredients, including a steam engine, which is a rather complicated process. However, we could probably make that a little bit simpler with this thing we've already got set up here. If I give that some small cogs and that some big cogs, and then shove some brass sheet in there, and get that back out again, swap those for some fans and some andesite alloy, and then throw that back in there. I just got to do this a bunch of times. And there we go. I've already got one. Next, I need to set up a bunch of mechanical crafters, and I'm going to set this up in the basement where I've relocated the crushing wheels to. And for now, I think we could probably just squeeze that onto this wall here. And the recipe is basically a bit of brass down there like that, with some cogs across the top. Not there. In there. One of those there. A couple of fans either side. And a bit of andesite alloy at the bottom. But that's not going to do anything because this needs power. And we have power coming up here. So I just need to steal a bit of it, bring it over this way, put a gearbox there and a small cog there, and overstress the entire system again. Okay, let's just turn my crushing wheels down a little bit. They're probably going a little bit quick. No, it's still overstressed. There we go, turn them right down. And that should allow my crafters to actually craft. There we go, we got a jetpack. But a jetpack on its own is pretty useless. It needs fuel. And it also needs water, for which we need filling tanks, and for the fuel we need sturdy sheet. Sturdy sheet you get from crushing down obsidian to make powdered obsidian and then doing some squirting and some pressing. And I'm going to need a few of them. We'll start with crushing down the obsidian into powdered obsidian. As you can see, I've been making myself a bit of sand. And there we go, we've got a bunch of powdered obsidian now. And in order to turn that into sturdy sheet, we're going to need a lot of lava. But I'm not ready to start making infinite lava sources yet. So I think it's yet again time to go back to the Nether and steal some. Now, fortunately for me, we are absolutely surrounded by lava lakes in this Nether, and all I'm going to do is dig across until I get to the lava lake, which should be at this level, just the other side of this wall. I'm going to set up a little fluid tank just here, grab myself a pump, a little bit of pipe, and a hose pulley on the end of that pipe. Then I'm going to wind that hose pulley down till it reaches as far down as it will go into the lava lake. And now, of course, I need power, which is why I've bought some buckets of lava with me and some water wheels, because water wheels can be powered by lava as well as water, allowing us to generate stress units in the Nether. And with just a little bit of jiggery pokery, we now have a full speed pump pumping the lava out of the lake into this tank. And voila, there we go. We now have 128 buckets of lava, which I'm going to disconnect from power, turn into a contraption, and take with me. This workshop's getting a bit messy. I might need to tidy it up soon. But anyway, let's throw down some of this onto there. I've probably put way too much on there, to be honest with you. We'll be able to squirt lava onto a whole bunch of those. Oh, and now it's just going to throw them on the floor. And the ones it throws on the floor, I'm then just going to go and put on that press over there and start getting them pressed. And instead of pressing them on there, if I'm smart and I just take away the deployer out of here and pop that press on there instead, should be able to just chuck all of those straight into there. And yeah, they're just going to get pressed into sturdy sheet. Wonderful. So now I've crafted 4 small fueling tanks. I actually need to make these the next size up. I'm just going to spread these out like this, throw those onto there like this, and then I'm going to get them to the large size like this. And I've still got a bunch of sturdy sheet left over. That's brilliant. Now I need to make the small filling tanks. So we're going to have 4 of those. And then I need to do the same thing with a little bit of copper to make these the big ones. And there we go. 4 of each. Now, because we've got a bunch of lava here, hopefully I can just fill these tanks up from this, but I believe we've actually got to go click on lava with them. I don't think we're going to be able to... Yeah, that's not going to work. So back to the nether again. I keep taking my gold helmet off and putting it away. And then all I need to do is basically just click on a bunch of lava to fill these things up. But obviously this is going to decimate the lava lake, which isn't ideal. So the other way I could do this is to just put a couple of blocks around my pump, reconnect the power, which is going to just fill that, and then I can just stand here and then just take the lava straight from there. And now we're using an infinite lava source and not stealing from the lake. So with my lava tanks now full, all I need to do is stand here next to this infinite water source, and now I can fill up my water tanks. And there we go. Those are all full now. We've got 2 in our inventory, 3 in our backpacks. And that should mean if I put this jetpack on, that should start fueling up from the fuel in my inventory. And that means I can fly. Ah, finally. But yeah, I want a netherite one. I just need one of them, and one of those. And now it is a netherite jetpack. So anyway, how is a jetpack going to help me get ender pearls? Well, well, that's bulky. Jeez. Well, that's quite simple. All I got to do now is fly very quickly back to that village. In fact, there's a much closer village in this direction. Hello, Mr. Villager. You are exactly what I need. Come with me. Stealing villagers with a jetpack. Right, where am I going to put you? Where are you going to live? I guess you can live in the... Oh, no, because it's got doors. No, you can't live. No, don't wander off. No, go... Oh, okay. You need a hole to live in, sir. I'm going to make you a hole. This is going to be your hole. You're going to live in here. Right there. That's your hole. You live in there. I'm going to go get you a brewing stand. And with this, we have a cleric who doesn't sell ender pearls yet because they need leveling up. And for that, I'm going to need emeralds or a lot of rotten flesh. And I have neither of those, so I'm going to have to go steal another villager. So now we've got space for a Fletcher and a blast furnace man. Blast furnace man? Yeah, blast furnace man. Let's go get some more villagers. And so a few minutes later, I now have 4 villagers that I've decided to move into my barn rather than the basement because I thought, well, I've got loads of food here. I can easily trade that with these 2 guys that have got composters, but they both decided they don't want to do being a farmer. They'd much rather be cartographers. And I think the big issue I've got right now is that if I take this guy out of here, he's going to try and go home. And I mean home as in all the way back to that village, which is a bit of a problem because I don't want him to go back to that village. I've added in beds here for them to have, but he's not remotely interested in that. He just wants to go back to the village. Would it make you happier if you had a bed you could almost reach? Oh, yes, it would. Okay, you just needed a bed you could reach. Right, fine. You want potatoes and wheat. I've got plenty of potatoes and I've got plenty of wheat. And you want onions and carrots. Oh, this is perfect. I'll be back in a minute. Well, I think I might have hit the jackpot with these guys. This guy is taking onions and carrots and cabbages and rice and flax seeds, all for emeralds, which I have in high quantities. This guy is taking potatoes and wheat and rice and flax seeds and melons, which I have in high quantities. And this guy is taking sticks and flint and string, which I have in high quantities thanks for the fact that I can turn flax into string. This is incredible. So now that I've amassed a decent number of emeralds, it's probably time to actually spend a little bit of time with this chap, leveling him up. I shall buy a little bit of lapis from you, sir. Now I shall buy some glowstone. And there we go. We now have ender pearls available to us, which I can now buy by the bunch. I was not planning on doing villagers today, but I'm very glad I did. Now, you guys, I want all of that XP that you've left on the floor. Any for me here? No. And now you can all go to sleep. Good night. Good. Right. Next job. Turn these ender pearls into upgrades. So first of all, I'll have my feeding upgrade, and that's just going to automatically feed me whenever I'm hungry. And the other one I want is the refill upgrade, which is basically going to keep any items I've got in my hotbar restocked. For instance, if I've got cobble in my hotbar and I use it, what? Have I made the wrong one? Keeps refilling stack of selective items in player's inventory. But you're not doing it. Does it have to get below a certain level first? Now, if I'm going to have a refill upgrade in my backpack to automatically feed me, it would make sense if I had nice things to eat. And considering we've now got an abundance of different food types, although of course we haven't got any meat, I'm hoping the Farmer's Delight mod actually has some recipes in it that I can use that doesn't require any meat. Vegetable soup. Vegetable soup's pretty good, actually, and I can easily make that. I can also make mushroom rice, which looks about as good as vegetable stew. With a bit of extra effort, I could make vegetable noodles, which gives you 1.5 more saturation. And I could also make ratatouille, which is not that great. I could also make a stuffed pumpkin, which... a bowl of stuffed pumpkin. Oh, that is good. And it's pretty easy to make. So let's make some of that. First, I'm going to need a stove, which I can just chuck down there. And then I'm going to need something which I believe I've already got somewhere, which is the cooking pot. There it is. And then if I chuck the cooking pot on the stove, I just need to fill it up with the ingredients. And there we go. We are now cooking stuffed pumpkins. This is going to be brilliant. I mean, I say it's going to be brilliant. I don't really know how this works. I'm assuming this is one of those things that you have to place. Yeah. Then grab a bowl and then click it with the bowl to fill the bowl up, which is not ideal, but it'll do. So now if I put those in my backpack, I'm going to be very well fed. Now I can automate this cooking process with Create. And it's really not too difficult. You just need a blaze burner with a mixer and a basin and then to feed in these ingredients. That doesn't automate serving it up into the bowls, but it will automate actually making this, and it will be substantially quicker. But don't forget, this is just the start of this series. We're still at the very beginning in our first little area. I don't want to get too carried away with all of the automation things all at once. I want to be able to play at a reasonable rate and enjoy the process as it goes on. Moving things along a little bit, and I've done all my cooking. That means I've now got 253 bowls of stuffed pumpkin. I've also been back down the mine to get a little bit more gold with my tunnel bore, which meant I could improve a couple of my backpack upgrades. Those being the feeding upgrade, the advanced pickup upgrade, and the advanced refill upgrade. And all that means is you just get a few more options of how you want these things to work. Nothing major, but handy to have. So now that we're finally fully set up and ready to go with everything I need, it's time to build that mobile gold farm. But it's not just time to build that mobile gold farm, because of course I've got to completely rebuild my mobile iron farm and make that a bunch better. And that means adding in carriages for cobblestone generators, gravel generators, sand generators, and then of course gold. Now, the main two ways of generating gold are to either wash red sand to give you a 12% chance of getting 3 gold nuggets, or to wash soul sand, which both gives you quartz and a 2% chance of getting 1 gold nugget. Which of course means the red sand route is a lot more efficient and you get a lot more back from it, but it's also a whole bunch more complicated. That's because in order to get red sand, you either need to crush down granite or terracotta. Granite you can get from mixing nether quartz and diorite you get from crafting nether quartz and cobblestone. Terracotta, on the other hand, comes from smelting clay, which you can get from washing sand. And regardless of which process I go through to get red sand, there's a whole bunch of stuff needs doing, which means my train would probably be about 4 miles long, and it would definitely exceed the number of carriages I was allowed to make for a train. Washing soul sand, however, is much easier, because soul sand is literally just haunting sand. Sand you get from crushing gravel, and gravel of course comes from crushing cobblestone. And that sounds like a much easier process for me, which will inevitably mean getting a lot less gold than the red sand route, but just like our iron farm, it doesn't need to be particularly quick, because this has just been running all of that time, and whilst there's not much in there, I've got a ridiculous amount of iron in my backpack now. So let's do this. And in order to do this, we need to come back to my test world and start building some carriages. This is what I've come up with. I'm trying very hard to keep them the same length carriages, keep them less than 4 blocks tall so they fit in that sort of space, and make sure they're as efficient as possible. This cobblestone generator has 6 dispensers for lava and 6 dispensers for water. The water dispenses into leaf blocks to stop it flowing everywhere, and the lava just dispenses behind these boards. Underneath this row of chain drive here, there are drills which are driven all by this motor at the front, and underneath all of that there's a conveyor running along the front that goes into this funnel here and then into this storage drawer. And the reason I wanted to go into a storage drawer rather than one of these ender chests directly is that we can store a lot more items inside of these. These ender chests are limited to 27 stacks. So by pushing them into there, I still want to be able to access the cobblestone from these ender chests in order to be then able to use that in other farms, like this gravel farm, which needs to access the cobblestone. So in order to get that out of the storage drawer and into the ender chest, I'm actually using this inventory access port from the Create Connected add-on, then pushing that through a funnel, which goes into a smart chute, which then goes into the ender chest. However, there is a bit of a downside to this setup, and that is that when you funnel things out of a funnel and into a smart chute, you end up with a stack of items always just floating. And once that despawns, then another one will come out and another one, and basically you're just throwing away items, which isn't ideal. Anyway, that's the cobblestone one. Then we take the cobblestone, we move it onto this belt here, that comes across here, across this belt, and then that gets funneled into these millstones, which then turns it all into gravel. That's better. With a little bit of jiggery pokery, I have been able to make it so that we now have a much better system. We've got the items now just coming up 1 block, going into our storage drawers, and then being smart shooted straight down into the ender chests. Because of that, I've been able to add on an extra millstone here. So now that those are done, it's time to make one for sand. Well, that was easy. This system takes in our gravel into this ender chest here, spits it out into those crushing wheels and out into those crushing wheels, and that just gets turned into sand and clay and flint, which then comes down into these ender chests here. The problem is I've used compacting drawers so that I get the... that's not what I want, is it? Right, okay, what we need to do is set a filter on there and put that back in there and do the same thing for this one. And now it won't take any of the blocks out, but then we've got access to the blocks at a glance if we need them. The only downside to this one, whilst it's nice and simple and fits in nice and easily, is that the crushing wheels are going to stick out the sides of our train. Whilst they just stick out past this bit, of course the walls of our carriage are going to be in a little bit from that, meaning the crushing wheels are going to stick out the sides. So I'm sure we'll have to incorporate that into the design of the carriage somehow. Alternatively, I could make them vertical and do this thing slightly differently, but I kind of like the layout we've got here. If you're wondering what these blocks are, this is just oak trim. This creates a storage network. We have a storage controller down there, which is linked to this trim, which comes over to this storage controller IO over here, allowing us to input into there and receive the items over here. So basically, you can imagine these are just pipes, allowing the items to travel along here into the drawer controller or into these directly. Because they're all linked together, that all works, and our sand has already filled up, meaning that the system has automatically stopped itself because of the redstone link on here, which is wonderful. Now, as you can see, I have 2 carriages left. One is going to be for our iron farm, and the other one is going to be for the gold farm. And if you're wondering why this is set up on here like this was just so that I could test we could actually move the ender chests on a contraption, and they weren't just going to be immovable. And it does work absolutely fine. Right, next. And voila! I did the wrong one first. I've done gold, and it was a lot simpler than I thought it would be, considering we've got to add in both haunting and washing. First of all, we need to haunt the sand, which is coming out of this ender chest, into soul sand. We are doing that on this belt here. We're not allowing anything to then pass through these unless it is actually soul sand, to prevent it just sending the sand down through these smart chutes onto another set of belts, which is going back that way. This has the fan washing catalyst with a bunch of fans behind that, which is is washing the soul sand into quartz and gold, and then we've got a brass tunnel here with a filter on both sides saying don't allow anything other than quartz and gold nuggets through. If you only put the filter on this side, it will still allow the soul sand into the funnel and through again, which is a bit weird. So yes, you've definitely got to put the filter on the side that you don't want them going into, and then once they've gone through there, they come up this belt just like the other ones into this storage controller. And we've got the same thing going on here. We've got some compacting drawers for the gold, the normal drawer for the quartz, and they're just coming down into these ender chests here. And yes, it is very, very, very slow at generating gold, but like I say with these things, over time this will all add up to a whole bunch of stuff. And bear in mind, these are not going to be my only farms. At some point in this let's play, we'll have an absolutely ginormous gold farm generating more gold we could ever know what to do with. This is just for my train, so when I'm exploring the world, I've got some materials I need for doing things like building and crafting without having to keep going back to base. So now all I gotta do is build my iron farm again, build all of these in the survival world, and then try and figure out how I'm going to power them all. That's going to be tricky. And here we go. A much more efficient iron farm than we had before. Instead of just using 4 fans, we are now using 10. Because I'm not having to squeeze a cobblestone generator in here as well, I'm able to have 2 layers of iron farm washing, or gravel washing. And the gravel just comes out of these ender chests here, if we actually had any left, goes through into the fans, gets washed, turns into iron nuggets and flint, gets spat out onto this belt here and goes into the system. But yes, we have completely run out of gravel, which is a bit of a problem because yeah, we're really not generating enough to keep up with hardly any of this. But that's fine, because the other advantage of having all of these things on a train going into ender chests is that in the future, when I do have substantially bigger farms for cobblestone and gravel and things like that, I'll be able to feed those into the same ender chests, making these train cars a little bit redundant, but also allowing the ones that are producing the iron and the gold and things like that to have far more resources to get through. And perhaps in the meantime I could do a little bit of tweaking, and perhaps I could be a little bit less greedy and literally just use a single layer of this, because as you've already seen on the survival world, I've got more than enough iron just from the 4 fan setup that I had before. So I really don't need 10 fans worth of iron generated at the moment. So do you know what? I'm just going to keep this train car nice and simple and get rid of this top one completely. I don't need it at all. And there we go. Look how much more compact that is. Loads better, loads cheaper, a lot less stress units to power it, and a lot easier to build. Which is good, because I now have a whole bunch of train to build, which is going to take me a whole bunch of time and cost me a whole lot of resources. So let's do this. In order to now build 5 fully functional farms on a train, I had a lot of crafting to do. So I made a schematic of the 5 train cars from the test world, popped it into a schematic cannon to generate a list of materials, and got to work for what felt like hours. In reality, it was more like 50 minutes, as I crafted a bit of this, pressed a bit of that, mixed a bit of something else, until I almost had everything I needed. However, in order to make the ender storage chests, I needed blaze rods, and a lot of them. So I decided to use the blaze spawner I'd stolen from the Nether fortress previously and turn it into a very basic blaze farm. Digging out the hill next to the house, I placed the blaze spawner and worked on trying to make it as automated as possible. Adding in flowing water to push the blazes towards the center, and then adding in water wheels with a deployer with a sword to automatically kill the blazes, while I spent a little while AFK. And it worked. It generated just enough blaze rods for me to make everything I needed. However, while I was AFK, I wasn't aware that a very sneaky baby zombie was infiltrating my barn. After smashing down one of the doors, he took a particular liking to my Fletcher, turning him into a zombie villager before running off and escaping. So off on a tangent I went, brewing up some potions of weakness so that I could cure my Fletcher with a tasty golden apple. And once he was fully cured, it was finally time to get building my brand new mobile farm train. So I laid out a little more track, threw down a station, and began building each of the 5 carriage bases ready to build the farms on top of. And so, with the carriage bases ready, I began working on the first car, which was for the cobblestone generators. It didn't take too long to throw it together thanks to pre-planning and having a bunch of screenshots from my test world on hand, but I was suddenly a little concerned about how I was going to keep track of the die system for the ender chests. So in order to help me remember which die combination was for which item, I placed a few spare ender chests down, added on some item frames with the items I'd be storing in them, and then color-coded them with the unique colors for each item type. With the organization done, it was time to build the gravel farm. Again, this went pretty swiftly, taking no more than 5 minutes to put together thanks to my screenshots again, and having all the items I needed on hand. And then came the sand farm, which again went nice and smoothly. Once again, I connected up the correctly dyed ender chests to the inputs and outputs, and then started working on the gold farm. Again, the gold farm was finished within a matter of minutes, leading to the final farm that I'd be building today, which of course was the iron farm. And rather than tearing down or using the one I've already got, I started fresh, throwing together the much simpler design I'd come up with in the test world. And with that done, all of the train cars were almost complete. Next, I spent a few minutes tidying things up, as well as making sure all of the chutes, threshold switches, redstone links and ender chests were correctly labeled and set up. And with that done, my brand new 5-car mobile farm train was complete. Well, the carriages were at least. We now have a very long set of carriages with no locomotive to pull them at the moment, but that doesn't matter too much. None of this is glued together, and yes, I've got an iron farm there and one over there because I haven't dismantled that one. And my reasoning for that is I'm not 100% sure that I've finished with these yet because I've had some ideas. My first idea is going to save me a little bit of time, and that is that instead of surrounding them with, a load of blocks and panels and things to make them look like carriages, to just leave them as they are and have them looking really industrial, because I really like this aesthetic that we've just got this mobile farm thing running through the world, and you can quite easily see what each one is as it'll make its way along the tracks and over bridges and through tunnels and things. I really like that idea. The other idea I've had is how we're going to power them. At the moment, we've got a speed controller and an inverted clutch on every single one of these things, and I've tried to keep them close together. We've got 2 together there, we've got 2 together there, and my reasoning for that is it's going to be easier to plug things in if they're close by. That also means that every single station we're going to be having is going to need some way of connecting to a block that's on the side of a train that isn't protruding, which means we'd probably end up with something a little bit like this all the way along the side of the station that the train needs to pull up next to, that'd all be powered, and I think that looks a bit rubbish. And because I was planning on turning the rotational power into electricity and then using motors on these trains rather than speed controllers, then I'd have to come along manually and plug each one in, which was fine when I was only thinking I was going to have a couple of these things. But if we're going to be having, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these things, that's going to be difficult. So what I'm thinking is we add power lines above the track. Then instead of having our power going in at the side, we bring it in from above, so that all of the trains just park in exactly the right place. And for example, this one over here, it would line up with a motor that was connected by power lines, and that would then just drive whatever it's attached to. That does, however, mean that I'm going to need to significantly change how the power works on all of these things, and because it's not actually plugged into power at the moment, I don't even know if anything's spinning in the right direction. But unfortunately, plugging it all in and building power to make this thing run is going to have to wait for another day, because that's all I've got time for today.